Hey everyone, Coaster Central here, and today I'm going to be fulfilling an obligation us coaster enthusiasts have by doing a top 15 coaster video, just like everyone else. Now, I went on a lot of coasters this year, and now my credit count is at 91, and also remember to subscribe because, well, it would be nice if you did. Okay, let's get into the rankings now. At number 15, we have Cheetah Hunt at Busch Gardens, Tampa. Has a really fun layout with lots of low to the ground twisting elements. Honestly, this ride is just pure fun, and also has some surprisingly good moments of airtime, like that drop off of the first figure of 8 element, and that ejector hill during the middle of the ride. At number 14 is the first UK coaster on the list. It's Nemesis Inferno at Fort Park. Now, whilst I think the original is still better than this ride, it still packs a punch. A lot of people say they're either way better than Nemesis or way worse, and I'm actually somewhere in between. I still think it's a 10 out of 10 ride, but not quite as good as the other Invert at Alton Towers. For my 13th favourite coaster, we got the Incredible Hulk at Islands of Adventure. This has a super intense layout with tons of fun and whippy inversions. It has a great launch with a great layout following it, the perfect storm for a good coaster. Number 12 is Fort Park's best coaster, Stealth. Now, whilst this ride is still short, it packs a punch. It has a great launch that genuinely terrifies me every time I ride, and it just feels way bigger than it actually is, and a great standout attraction for Thorpe. For number 11 is the first coaster from Portaventura on this list. It's Furious Backhoe. This coaster is super intense and has a really weird theme, has some great moments like that swoop over the lake, and the launch, of course. But what kept it from the top 10 was the rattle that this coaster has. It is super rough. Now into the top 10, and at number 10 we have the Smiler at Alton Towers. This coaster has the most inversions on any ride in the world, as it flips you upside down 14 times. But one thing stopping this coaster from getting up higher on the list is because of how repetitive it can get. It all sort of merges into one, but that sort of makes the coaster feel even crazier, but it's just sort of a blur. It also gets extra points for the soundtrack, that is an absolute banger. At number 9 is Red Force in Ferrari World. It has a great launch, and the fact you have to wear goggles in the front row because of how tall it is really cool to me. This is the tallest and fastest coaster in Europe, and has one-of-a-kind ride experience. At number 8 is A Real Fall from Glory, Icon at Blackpool Pleasure Beach. This used to be my number 1 coaster, however it has fallen substantially from the top spot. It has a good layout with a mix of inversions and airtime, but just falls flat in the intensity department. I still like it, just not as much as I used to. Number 7 is Hagrids Magical Creatures and Friends. I forgot this ride's name. Oh wait, it's Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Nailed it. In all seriousness though, this coaster has great theming and I really enjoy it. The 7 launches are all pretty good, and I'm pretty sure that this coaster cost about £300 million to make or something, so it's very expensive, and it definitely paid off since this coaster gets 3-hour queues all the time, so I only got one ride on it. Number 6 is the best coaster in the UK. It is Nemesis at Alton Towers. This coaster is the most intense ride experience ever. If this ride is worse after the retrack, I'll be glad to get on the original because of how crazy the ride is. I absolutely adore it, however it is not my favourite invert, because at number 5 we have my favourite invert. Montu at Busch Gardens. It is super intense and is just so much longer than Nemesis, which is what placed it above it for me. Nemesis and this ride are super interchangeable, however for now it is my number 5 favourite roller coaster. At number 4 we have Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. This is my second favourite B&M hypercoaster out of the 2 I've been on, however it's still a great ride. The airtime is great and it pretty comfortably sits at number 4, as not many rides could beat it, however it can't really overtake many rides. Now the top 3 is really interchangeable and it was super hard to rank these rides, but let's go with number 3, Shambhala at Portaventura. This is honestly a fantastic ride. Has great airtime, great theming, great restraints, just great everything. However, it's not enough to beat my number 2 ride, which is Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure. This coaster is elite in every way, easily the best launch coaster I've been on. The theming is immaculate and has a great layout to go along with it. This and my number one coaster though are super close, and it could have gone any way. But for now, my number one coaster is Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens. It is a great coaster from start to finish, never giving you a chance to take a breath and relax, as it just constantly throws element after element at you. It was my first RMC, and I can't wait to get on some more of them if they are similar to this. So those are my top 15 coasters in the world. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and like the video, and leave a comment with your top 15 coasters. But please don't start a war with like the most controversial opinion ever. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, and goodbye.